Hey guys, welcome back to a video of U-Boat. Today I will be showing you how to intercept a merchant ship or convoy by using a method in which you convert the convoy speed in knots to kilometers an hour. And with this method you can determine where a convoy would be within an hour, 45 minutes, so on. And I know a lot of people, when they play this game, they probably see the hydrophone circle and they just try and rush to it as fast as they can with no understanding of how they're going to get there in time, or if they'll get there in time, or any kind of process to reach the convoy. And what I'll basically be showing you is how to go about doing that realistically and how you can get the same results. Some people may have done this in Silent Hunter when tracking convoys or coordinates of convoys with speed and heading. U-Boat doesn't offer a lot of that, but here's a way you can kind of try and make it work. So firstly, I start by drawing my distance to the convoy, and then I draw the path that the convoy's on in a straight line. Now in this game, it doesn't really give you a heading, nor does the protractor show a heading, so I have to place a line on the convoy, fast forward, and see if it stays on that line. It's a little bit arcadey, but that's as realistic as you can get with this game at this point in time. So I know my distance from the convoy is 77 kilometers, and if I hover over the convoy circle, it confirms that it's about 76.8. I also know the convoy is moving at 7 knots. So what I made was basically this triangle, which will show my distance to confirm from the convoy, make sure it's accurate at its location, the distance to the intercept point that I created based on where I currently am, and where the convoy is and where I want to meet the convoy in the shortest amount of time. So now at this point in time, I have to determine one of two things. I have to determine where the convoy, well, first I have to convert the convoy speed from knots to kilometers an hour, and then divide that by the distance in front of the convoy that it has to cover to meet my intersection point. Once I've done that, I will get how much distance the convoy will travel within an hour. Once I know that, I can mark on the map every hour exactly where the convoy should be. And I'll do the same with my own boat once I set a speed in which I want to intercept the convoy, and be there at the same time. So what I do is I take 7 knots, the convoy speed, multiplied by 1.852, which is how many kilometers are in 1 nautical mile, and that's going to give me 12.9 kilometers, and I'll round that up to 13. So what that tells me is every hour the convoy would have traveled 13 kilometers. So now on the map, as you can see here, I'm marking a point every 13 kilometers. So once I've done that, on those points, I'll draw the compass circle just for myself, just so I can have a visual of every hour. So the first point um, is basically going to be the first hour where I draw my first circle. The second point is going to be the second hour where the convoy should be. And the third point should be the third hour where the convoy should be. Now, take into account it is a convoy and we just have a general course. It could be moving in any direction along that line. There could be a variation in speed. If this game models anything like that, there could be lots of variations. So the point of this is to hopefully be an hour ahead of the convoy when we arrive. So as you can see now, I have the circles showing each hour, 1, 2, 3, and where the convoy should be at its current course and speed. So now that I have an understanding of where the convoy should be at its current speed and course, I have to figure out my own speed and course. So I want to go at a speed that will put me an hour ahead of the convoy. If the convoy is going to be at the third point in 3 hours, I want to be there in 2. So now I have to figure out what speed will do that for me. Um, so I just started learning the method myself, but I understood that if I move at 10 knots and I convert that to kilometers an hour, that would mean that I would move 18 and a half kilometers every hour. But I also know that my distance to that intercept point is 44, basically 44 kilometers. So what I did there was I divided 44 kilometers, my distance needed to be traveled by the distance covered in an hour by my own ship, which was 18 and a half kilometers, and I got 2.4. So that would put me at that location in a little over 2 hours. So that would, I would think, would put me there maybe, you know, 30, 40 minutes ahead of the convoy. If everything works out well and if I've done my math correctly, not the best, genius out there, but it should get me ahead of the convoy relatively in a point that I would want to be. So as you can see here, I'm going to start that process. I'm probably doing the math right now. But after this, I actually show you an easier way to do it, which is a mod for the game that comes with the TDC mod. It's a chart, and I'll actually show you how that works so that you can do this a little bit quicker. This is something that you want to start doing.
Kurs auf diese Koordinaten setzen.
And as you'll see in just a sec, I end up getting to the spot, I'd say about 20 minutes before the convoy is supposed to arrive. Because my distance traveled was about 2.4, so a little over 2.5 hours, and the convoy's distance traveled was 3. So I actually cut it pretty close.
Wechseln auf Dieselmotor.
And there's our convoy right on time. And this is really a good method if you're one of those people who's just been chasing the hydrophone bubble and hoping that you come in contact with the convoy. If you use this method, which um, was in fact something that was done, um, you'll find that you'll be a lot more accurate and it's a lot more fun. It adds a little bit more realism to the game if you feel like doing the numbers and everything. Um, but yeah, and I wouldn't recommend chasing contacts that are over 200 kilometers away because at that point that's a waste of fuel and there's so much variation in the ship's travel. There's really no point in doing it. I'd go for contacts that are under 100 kilometers away. All right, so the next thing I want to show you guys is this chart here. It's the knots to kilometers conversion chart that you get with the TDC mod. And basically on the left column, all the way to the left, you'll see the knots listed from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And on the top rows, you'll see like a minutes and 5, I believe 10, 45, all the way up to 60. So if you look at the speed that the convoy was traveling on the left-hand column, which was 7, and then go all the way to the right where it says a 60 at the top in red, you'll see 12.9 kilometers, which is what I rounded up to 13. This chart basically takes what I just did on this pencil and pad and pretty much summarize it for you in a nice, neat little chart. And that's with any speed. And that's pretty much for any individuals who have the TDC mod and never understood what this chart was for. I translated it. I forgot what the translation was, but it's basically knots converted into kilometers. So it's really handy if you don't want to pull out a calculator or try and do this on pen and pad.